Hi, welcome back to Anime Insights. Today I will recap the first season of the show titled Black Lagoon. In Japan, Rokurou Okajima recalls how he made it to a businessman's city after somehow graduating from a state university. In his dreary life, he is bossed around by his superior Fujiwara, though he wishes to take his place in order to remain sane. However, Rokurou claims that such a life is far away while he is away in the South China Sea. On the cargo ship Melanesia, he is punched by a pirate, Dutch, who asks him again if the disc that the latter holds is the Asahi Heavy Industrials package that Rokurou is supposed to deliver to his chief in Borneo. Though the salaryman confirms and wants to know why they need him, Dutch tells him to quiet while his fellow pirate, Revy, suggests shooting Rokurou. Dutch responds that it will not be necessary. Below them in the boat named Black Lagoon, Benny radios to Dutch that a Navy patrol boat is heading their way. As the unarmed crew members of Melanesia continue to keep their heads down, Dutch orders Benny to start the engines. He then warns the sailors not to pursue him since he has a torpedo boat, giving them a half-hour to stay put. Hearing this, Rokurou expresses his relief until Revy points her pistol at him, informing him that he is coming with them. The nervous salaryman believes she is joking but is shocked when Revy forces him on board the Black Lagoon. On the bridge, Dutch radios his client Balaleka, informing her that he has the package. Please, Balaleka remarks that she enjoys smart work. In Japan, at Asahi Industries headquarters, Chief Kageyama tells his fellow board members that Bougainville Trade Company contacted them concerning negotiations for the stolen disc. He elaborates that the company is a front for the Russian mafia that has continued to displace the Chinese mafia in Southeast Asia, causing the director to ask what they would want. Kageyama guesses that the Russians want control of the shipping route where the deal is to occur. Realizing that the Russian mafia is blackmailing them, the vice president comments that it will be the biggest scandal in Asahi Industries' history if the contents of the disc are leaked to the public. Being handed a report from Jakarta, Kageyama relays to the board that according to a local Chinese merchant, the Russians have yet to receive the disc. Smiling maliciously, he proposes stopping the disc from reaching the Russians. Replying that he understands, the vice president permits Kageyama to resolve the matter and choose whatever means necessary. In the sea, Dutch berates Revy for taking a hostage, but she reasons that they can get more money for him. Benny states that her plan is simple-minded, causing Revy to threaten to kill him. Poking holes through her plan, Dutch rhetorically asks her if she knows who to call, how to negotiate, and how to wire the ransom to a bank account. Furious, Revy shoots at Rokurou and yells that they should throw him overboard. As Rokurou sits unharmed but terrified, Dutch restrains her until she agrees to calm down. On deck, Dutch takes Rokurou on a break, giving him a cigarette. The salaryman asks what will happen to him, with Dutch saying that he will contact his company somehow and set up a trade. Disappointed that the incident will go on his permanent record, Rokurou gloomily looks ahead. Dutch specifies that the Lagoon Company are just deliverymen working for a client, summarizing that he breaks the law occasionally to be able to eat. As Rokurou thinks to himself that he may have Stockholm Syndrome, Dutch asks for his name. That night, back in Japan, Fujiwara apologizes to the director for not informing him that the employee Rokurou was captured. Hearing him state that Rokurou was one of the few people who could be entrusted to deliver the disc, the director calms down and asks Kageyama about his insight. Repeating what he said earlier, Kageyama answers that their company is in crisis and cannot handle any more delays. He asserts that he has subcontracted a company to send their professionals. Meanwhile, in Thailand at the Lagoon Company, dry dock in Ronapur, Black Lagoon stops and the pirates disembark. Dutch orders Rock to come with him, confusing Rokurou. Benny tells the salaryman that he means Rokurou. Soon, they arrive at the yellow flag. Inside, Rock is surprised at the tense atmosphere and everyone carrying a gun with them. When Dutch leaves the bar counter to make a call, Benny assures Rock that Dutch is a bit eccentric but cool-headed. Rock observes that Benny seems different from everyone else in town. Talking about his own past, Benny recalls that he was at a university in Florida when he angered both the FBI and the Mafia. Interrupting him, Revy finishes the story by boasting that she saved him before he could be violently killed. Speaking with Balaleka over the phone, Dutch learns about Asahi Industries' strange response. In her office, Balaleka forces a Chinese man to tell Dutch that his boss, Juan, arranged for mercenaries to hunt down Dutch. As the Russian men prepare to execute the man, Balaleka warns the Dutch to avoid dying. At the same time, outside the yellow flag, the mercenary captain prepares a grenade as Rock and Revy begin their drinking contest. The pirates are interrupted by several grenades, killing a few customers. As the mercenaries relentlessly shoot, Rokurou scurries behind the counter. Dutch asks everyone if they are alive, which Revy confirms while Benny runs to the back exit. As Rock panics and belittles his situation, Revy tells him to stop whining and Dutch orders her to show the mercenaries why she is called Two Hands. Entering the bar, the mercenaries are taken off guard by Revy's expert shooting. Dutch informs Rock that they should part ways, causing the latter to plead with him to let him come. Reluctantly agreeing, Dutch tells Revy to depart and he shoots a couple of men. When everyone quickly gets into Benny's car, he drives everyone to safety. Out at sea, Dutch remarks that they will be at the Belawan port soon. Learning that Benny has contacted his company, Rock becomes shocked that he will be dropped off in Malaya if negotiations do not go well. Rock chastises him for dragging him from place to place, but Revy in turn criticizes him for pleading for their help while using their boat as a personal taxi. Although he has a gun in his face, Rock ignores it when Dutch tells him to listen to his boss Kageyama calling him. To his shock, the salaryman learns that Asahi Industries agreed to help a war-torn country with the development of nuclear weapons to counter a drop in sales. Elaborating that the disc contains the weapon plans, Kageyama summarizes that the story cannot be made public and therefore Rock must disappear into the South China Sea for the sake of Asahi Industries. He claims that Rock will be promoted and the company leaders will attend his funeral, finishing the call by proclaiming that the mercenaries should be near the pirates soon. On deck, Revy watches Rock vomit but is informed by Benny that something is chasing them. To their surprise, they see the powerful gunship fly at them, so Dutch tries outmaneuvering them. When he is handed a rifle by Revy, Rock is terrified and hides under a torpedo launcher. In the gunship, Mayer wonders why the captain does not destroy the boat since they have clear advantage. The captain reasons that it will be more fun to watch the pirates die slowly and cower in fear. To evade the gunship, Dutch drives the Black Lagoon down a river but reaches a dead end. Realizing the futility of their situation, the members of the Lagoon Company begin to plan for the worst. Despite this, Rock concocts a plan to defeat the gunship, deducing that the gunship pilot's mentality is like that of a duelist, wanting to face their opponent face to face. Following Rock's plan, Dutch uses a sunken ship as a springboard to launch the Black Lagoon into the air and destroy the gunship with torpedoes. Later, the Lagoon Company manages to deliver the disc to Baleka, who gives the disc to Kageyama, as he had made a deal with the Russian mafia as a contingency plan. Instead of returning with Kageyama, Rock decides to stay with the Lagoon Company, who accept him as a new member. While staying in Ronapur, Dutch is approached by Chin, a gangster who warns him from continuing to work for Baleka. Dutch ignores his warnings and receives a job from an anonymous employer. As the group leaves on the Black Lagoon, Chin contacts Luke, head of a pirate gang, to kill the Lagoon Company. Soon, Luke attacks the Black Lagoon with a squadron of boats. Dutch tricks two of the boats into destroying each other via friendly fire, and Revy destroys the rest with a grenade launcher while leaping from boat to boat. Subsequently, the job is revealed to be a hoax set up by Chin, who is killed by Baleka. Afterward, the Lagoon Company is dispatched to retrieve a painting from a sunken World War II-era German boat that left Germany on the eve of Nazi Germany's defeat and was sunk by the United States Navy near Jakarta. Dutch purchases scuba equipment for Rock and Revy to use in retrieving the painting, and Benny instructs the two to enter the submarine via its torpedo tubes and create a hole to exit. After Rock and Revy begin descending, the Black Lagoon is attacked by a group of neo-Nazis who fire missiles at the ship. The Black Lagoon manages to evade missiles, but Dutch and Benny observe the Nazis send a team underwater to retrieve the painting. Inside the submarine, Rock and Revy locate the painting, but Revy insists on searching the ship for metals and other valuables. When Rock voices his disapproval, Revy asserts that her turbulent childhood pushed her to reject God, love, and other emotions and to believe that everything has no value except for the money. The two are soon attacked by the Germans, and in the midst of the firefight, Rock loses the painting. The Germans obtain it and retreat to the surface. Revy attempts to pursue them, but Rock forces her to abandon the fight when the Germans use machine guns to fire into the water. Later, Rock and Revy return to the Black Lagoon, where Dutch plans an assault on the German ship to retrieve the painting. Afterward, Dutch and Revy leave the Black Lagoon on a motorboat to raid the German ship. With the Germans celebrating their retrieval of the painting, the two easily enter the ship, and Dutch instructs Revy to distract the crew while he searches for the painting. Revy obliges, killing all the soldiers she comes across, but Dutch is forced to stop her when she tries to kill the civilian crew members. Dutch eventually finds Rachman, the German commander, talking to Sir Alfred, a former SS member who ordered Rachman to retrieve the painting. Dutch deduces that Alfred hired the Lagoon Company to ensure that he would acquire the painting, and Rachman is furious at this revelation. After Alfred ends the conversation, Dutch and Revy kill Rachman, finishing their mission. Later, Dutch dispatches Rock and Revy on errands throughout Ronapur, and Revy is displeased that she is forced to perform them with Rock. When they stop at the Church of Violence, an organization posing as religious missionaries to traffic drugs and illegal weaponry, Rock manages to use his business savvy to repair an agreement with Yolanda, the head of the church, after Revy draws a gun on her. Yolanda is impressed by Rock's skill and asks Revy to emulate him. Afterward, Rock and Revy begin a violent disagreement at a restaurant as Rock is furious at Revy for beginning to act like his former superiors in Japan, leaving Revy at a loss for words. Chief WhatsApp, the head of the corrupt Ronaper police, arrives, scolds them for causing a ruckus, and takes them in. On the way to the station, they reconcile in the backseat of a police car. Afterward, the Lagoon Company is contracted by a Colombian cartel to deliver a hostage, and Dutch assigns Rock to watch the boy while they are in transit. Rock learns that the boy is Garcia Loveless, the heir to one of the wealthiest families in South America, and that the cartel had abducted Garcia after his father refused to allow the cartel to occupy his lands. Concerned with the circumstances surrounding Garcia's abduction, Dutch contacts Balalaika for information on the Loveless family and the cartel. As they enter Ronaper, Garcia is confident that he will be saved by Roberta, the Loveless family maid. Meanwhile, Roberta is traveling through Ronaper looking for Garcia and is confronted by members of the cartel in a bar. As the members of the Lagoon Company and Garcia enter the same bar, Roberta begins a firefight with the cartel members. She dispatches the majority of the cartel members, and Garcia is shocked at her combat prowess. Revy inadvertently reveals the Lagoon Company's presence during the firefight, but is knocked unconscious when Roberta fires a grenade at her. Garcia asks the Lagoon Company to take him with them, and they manage to escape. One of the cartel members identifies Roberta as a former Colombian Special Forces agent with a large bounty on her head. Roberta destroys the bar with grenades and steals a car to pursue the Lagoon Company. Having determined Roberta's identity, Balalaika mobilizes soldiers to aid the Lagoon Company. When Roberta catches up to the Lagoon Company, Dutch manages to destroy the engine of her car before almost being pulled out of his car by her, and Benny begins driving into alleys and side streets. As they turn back onto the main road, Roberta drives another car into them and latches onto the back of their car with a knife. She forces Benny to crash the car in the port, but awakens Revy in the process. The two begin a firefight, evenly matched against one another. Balalaika arrives with a full squad of soldiers and forces the two to stop fighting. She explains Roberta's background to Garcia, noting that she's a famed warrior won around the globe for numerous assassinations and terrorist activities. Despite this, Garcia claims that Roberta is an accepted member of the Loveless family. To finish their duel, Roberta and Revy begin a fistfight, with the spectators making bets on the winner. Soon, the two knock each other out, and Garcia leaves for home with Roberta. Afterward, Rock asks Benny about the background of Balalaika and her soldiers, and Benny reveals that they are former Soviet special forces that distinguished themselves in the Soviet war in Afghanistan. Afterward, the Lagoon Company is approached by Mr. Chang, the head of the Ronaper Triad, to transport a briefcase containing information on the Protectors of the Islamic Front, a terrorist group in Africa, to the Central Intelligence Agency. While they are conversing, they come under attack from the terrorists, but Chang and Revy dispatch the attackers. The group leaves on the Black Lagoon, but is pursued by ships belonging to the terrorists led by Masahiro. Revy and Rock are forced to leave the Black Lagoon and seek a land route. Meanwhile, at an airport, Masahiro meets a Japanese salaryman with his son. The salaryman states that they are on a family trip to Cebu Island, and Masahiro jokes that any place outside of Manila seems far. Smiling, the man asks Takenaka if he has seen him somewhere, remarking that he feels like he has met him before. Hiding his own worry, Takenaka brightly smiles and claims that people often mistake him for someone else. Politely excusing himself, he tells the salaryman that he has to leave, bidding goodbye. Afterward, Masahiro poses as Rock's getaway driver, and when Revy sees through his deception, she escapes, but Rock is captured by the terrorists. Revy is saved by Shenhua, an assassin hired by Chang, and she convinces Shenhua and her partner Lightharch to save Rock to retrieve the documents. Meanwhile, Masahiro introduces himself to Rock and starts talking about their home country, Japan. In the jungle, Revy and Shenhua exit the car, and Revy orders Lightharch to stay put until she gives the signal to flee. Masahiro tells Rock that they will hold a trial and execute him if he does not talk by the next morning. Not accepting the time frame, Ibraha, Masahiro's subordinate, reminds him that the documents will determine whether the terrorist plan goes ahead, though Masahiro guesses that his female friend will come to save him. Outside the camp, Revy notes that there are 9 guards at the gates. Jumping to the ground, both women agree to attack when the sun sets. At night, Rock sits in despair and throws a chair in anger. Entering another building, Ibraha angrily informs Masahiro that their team reports from Thailand prove that the other 3 briefcases were empty, indicating that Rock has them. At the camp's entrance, Shenhua impales a man's chest and begins the raid. Revy shoots a couple of more men, grabbing everyone's attention. Running to the door, Rock yells to Revy, who breaks down the door with a corpse. Cleaning her weapon, Shenhua wonders if Rock is the foolish man that they have to rescue. As they exit, Masahiro and 2 men arrive. Smirking, Revy shoots at the men, causing Masahiro to feign getting shot as he takes cover under his dead men. Shenhua and Revy jump over the bodies, but Rock stops and locks eyes with Masahiro. Revy orders him to get moving, and Masahiro smiles as the three escape from the camp. Getting back into Leakharch's car, Revy orders him to drive, but he is relaxed due to using cannabis. In a drug-induced manner, Leakharch starts the car and drives the car in the wrong direction straight into the enemy camp, forcing Revy to shoot at the terrorists. As the mercenaries speed away, Abraha orders all units to pursue them. Masahiro warns him that his order is reckless, but the furious Abraha ignores him. Looking behind her, Revy is excited to see the entire enemy chase after them, but she wonders why Rock is muttering to himself. Standing on the car roof, Shenhua swings her corded sword, killing several fighters and crashing 2 cars. Back in Ronapur, Mr. Chang remarks that Dutch better have his pirates deliver the goods within 30 minutes. At a call of the CIA agent, Chang assures them that the delivery will occur on time. Hanging up the call, he learns from a triad member that Hong Kong has permitted him to deliver the goods but must avoid any direct confrontation with the enemy. At the same time, in the jungle, Revy squats on the roof and shoots several men. Before she can shoot at Abraha, Masahiro swerves the car off the road. Revy destroys the closest cars and then gets back into the car, stating that they could have killed the enemy sooner if she had a rocket launcher. Noticing that Rock is still sad, Revy offers him a cannabis cigarette, assuring him that it will calm him. Off the road, Abraha cannot start his car, and he orders the remaining units to chase the mercenaries. Grabbing the radiophone from him, Masahiro warns him that their troops will die, but Abraha grabs it back and refuses to listen to him. Being blunt, Masahiro tells Abraha that his infant son will never come back to life, no matter what he does. Elsewhere, as Shenhua notes they are close to the government camp, Revy happily asks Rock how he is feeling. To her surprise, he complains that running away will not help him, something which he claims to have been doing since kindergarten. On the other hand, Leakharch sees a hallucination of Playboy models all around him as he crashes through the demilitarized zone. Seeing the car, a Filipino soldier asks his commander if he can attack, but his commanding officer orders him to halt since the car inhabitants are friendly. Away from the government camp, the resentful Abraha rhetorically asks Masahiro if their mission is a way of life rather than a profession, claiming that they cannot give in at certain times. Shouting that their plan against Israel is within reach, he declares that he will show Israel and its protector, the United States, what the Red Cross camp in Beirut was like in 1987, referring to the fact that the Israeli military killed his infant son. Hearing a fighter ask for further orders, Abraha orders him to continue the pursuit. Struggling with him over control of the radiophone, Masahiro urges that they must retreat, reasoning that they cannot lose focus on their goal because of their ideals. Shoving him away and slamming his fists on the wheel, Abraha rhetorically asks him if their ideals are not the reason why they have been fighting in the first place. When Abraha demands that he answer him, Masahiro pulls out his pistol and shoots, killing him. Speaking to his men, Masahiro solemnly orders them to retreat and make their way to a secondary gathering point. Looking at his dead comrade, he remarks that both only looked at their past, which caused nothing to change for them. Nevertheless, Masahiro concludes that Abraha was a good comrade. At the military base, looking below from the helicopter, Agent Sugar asks if the delivery boys have arrived yet. Smiling, Revy jokes that the CIA is quite late, with Sugar responding that Langley is too busy fighting opponents of freedom and justice. Stepping out of the helicopter, Agent Blend asks where the documents are. Panicking, Rock realizes that he completely forgot to bring the documents with him, also surprising Shenhua. Telling them not to panic, Revy pulls out the documents from her tank top, angering Shenhua, since it means that they had no reason to go back for Rock. Accepting the sweat-covered documents, Blend thanks her but asks her to bring the deliveries in a more decent manner. As the helicopter departs, Rock nervously thanks Revy for saving him. Smirking, the latter assures Rock that he does not need to be so formal with her. She then hits him on the head and yells that he better not get captured again, relaying that the expenses to save him will be coming out of his paycheck. The next day at an airport, Masahiro once again crosses paths with the salaryman and his son, asking him how his vacation went. The man answers that they had a great time, asking in turn how Masahiro's trip went. With a deep breath, Masahiro explains that it was bad because the deal fell through, he hurt his hip, and he and a close friend ended up having a big fight. Smiling, the salaryman assures him that there is always a next time. Agreeing, Masahiro says that there will always be one until he dies. Before he leaves, the salaryman inquires about what he does for a living. Stating that the answer is finally clear to him, Masahiro firmly answers that his job is to be an enemy of the state. And this is how the first season ends. Thank you for watching. For the next season, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button.